Congratulations on being shortlisted, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, so please tell us what inspired your book, Grit.
Okay, so I wanted to write a play about family and politics. I wanted to write a play that is going to reveal the connection between family and politics, how the family shapes the political decisions that people take, and how politics impacts the cohesion in families. So in a nutshell, that's what the book is about.
How long did it take to write a book, sir?
Okay, I can't be really specific about how long, but I know it took months. A lot goes into the book process, from the first word that you put on paper, and then it goes through editing phases. The editors give you feedback, you try to improve it. And for this, because it's a play, you go into production. After production, you get to look at what has worked and what did not work, and shape the play a little more to make it have a sense of stage. And then you go to the publisher and you start doing back and forth with the publisher. They do layout, they send you for proofreading and stuff like that. So it takes a lot of time.
Months, basically.
Months, yes, yeah.
I must ask, did you have the NLNG prize in mind while putting the book together?
No, I wanted to write a play about politics, and I had started jotting down things for this play a few years back, although it did not turn out to be exactly the kind of play I wanted to write. I traveled in 2001. I went with the drafts that I had, and I hoped then that I was going to take our time to do that work, but I could not do it. And somehow between 2001 and the moment when I actually started writing the play, I had been placed the earlier draft, and I started working on something entirely fresh. So what I had conceived as a subject matter, the layout of the play turned out to be a lot more different from what I produced. And I'm very, very excited that I was able to get a play done in good time for the Nigerian Prize for Literature. I'm always very, very excited to compete for the Nigerian Prize for Literature. If I had the capacity to produce literature almost every year, to compete every year, I would compete. I mean, I don't think that there's anything to be troubled about getting involved in the process, writing the work and putting the work into the prize. So I'd already conceived the play, started trying to work on it. It did not come out early enough. And when it did come out, it came out in good time for the Nigerian Prize for Literature, and I'm excited. It would have been a shame if the book had not come out early enough for the Nigerian Prize for Literature, because that would simply have meant that I wouldn't have been able to take a shot at it and to come to this stage.
You said at the time you started writing the book, you had something different in mind.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
So
yeah.
What exactly is the difference between the book at this stage?
No, we will not be able to flesh out the entire details, but the pattern of conflict has changed. The rivalry between the brothers was not in the original draft that I had. The father was there. The death of the mother was there. There's actually a female character that was in the original draft that is not in this draft, in the final book. The medical doctor, who was supposed to be the lead protagonist in the first draft, is not the lead protagonist now. He has an elder brother. And in my original draft, the person who was the elder brother was supposed to be a friend who also had experience in the military. So a lot has changed. And again, I guess that trying to bring those two people who have military experience within the same family was a very tricky thing, because it needed justification. Why would two brothers get into the military and leave the military dissatisfied? What was the provocation? Why has their perception of politics continued to be colored by their experience in the military and their family's previous experience with the political class in their constituency? It's better than what I had already conceived. And that's what happens, because when you misplace a draft or a manuscript, you're actually tortured. You begin to wonder how you can recreate what you have lost. But ultimately, if you apply yourself to it, there's always a tendency that what you produce will be better than what you had conceived originally. So I'm happy about the outcome of this play.
Okay. Tell us how you feel exactly about being shortlisted.
Oh, look, I tell people all the time, the investment that the Nigerian NLNG has made into this prize administration, it's massive. It's massive. Um, the least that we can do as writers in Nigeria is to keep producing works of quality and putting the works in for the prize. I mean, you can imagine what it means if you have this kind of investment in place and the literary community is not rising up to the game to compete every year. I mean, it won't be proper. So I'm excited that the book has come this far. There is hope, there's prospect that compared to, because this is not the first time I've competed for this prize, but this is the farthest I've come. So what this simply means is that I have made more progress as a writer with regards to this prize than the previous 4 times that I just made it to the list of 11. So I'm excited that I've come to the list of 3.
So
Yeah.
do you think this would be your lucky year?
I am always a very hopeful person. I mean, I wouldn't have been able to compete for 5 times if I were not a hopeful person. I'm hopeful. But I also tell people that when you compete for a prize, you have cautious optimism. You know that you do not have, the decision does not rest with you. It rests with the judges who are evaluating the work. And what you do is that you enter your work in good faith and you be willing to respect the decision of the jury. So, if this is my lucky year, I'm going to look out for you and buy you a drink.
Tell us what exactly winning the NLNG prize will do for you.
Oh, it's huge. But I hope you're not telling me to tell you how I'll spend the money if I win it, because I'm not going to talk about that. But this is what I plan to do. If I win the prize, I'm going to set aside some money for the promotion of this book. I guess that's something I want to do different from what I have seen in the past. I want to set aside some money for the promotion of this book. I think that without sounding immodest, I've written a good play. At the risk of sounding immodest, I would say it's a great play. And I think that Nigerians ought to read their play. I have distributed the play freely. I've given more free copies than I have sold. I am always very eager to give copies. It doesn't make good business sense, but I think it makes a fantastic cultural sense that I'm putting the play in the hands of Nigerians and getting Nigerians to read their play. I'm not looking for people to say they like everything in the play, but I think that the play is significant enough to make Nigerians connect with the genre of drama and appreciate the creativity that has gone into the work. So what I'm going to do if I win the prize is to dedicate some money to the promotion of the play. I don't want to be one of those plays that are written and then just slip under the rug and go into oblivion. No, this is going to be a play that people will talk about for a very long time. Maybe for that reason, I actually pray that I win.
Do you think NLNG can do more for literature in Nigeria?
Yeah, it's a question that has been in the public domain for a very, very long time. And if you look at the way the LNG has carried this administration, when it started, the prize money was 50,000 US dollars. Today is 100,000 US dollars. When it started, the prize was for Nigerian writers resident in Nigeria. Now the prize is for Nigerian writers anywhere in the world. Okay, so if you watch the administration, you could tell that they're constantly improving the quality of the prize itself. The entire, I mean, look at this. I mean, look at the visibility that they're giving the writers, from the book party to all these interviews and all that. There's a lot going on, and it's difficult for me to say that. For me personally, it's difficult to say that they should do more, because I think that what they have done is huge. It's massive. A prize money, there's no prize that has this kind of reward in the whole of Africa. And many of the popular Western prizes do not give as much money as this. I mean, you can look around. Many of the popular, iconic literary prizes in America, in Canada, in the UK do not give as much money. So to begin to say that the LNG should do more than they are doing, for me, is like playing Oliver Twist. What I do pray for is that their business should continue to thrive and they should keep the prize alive. It's my hope and expectation that we can look back 100 years from now and thank God that the Nigerian prize has been sustained. And if in the course of the administration they choose to improve the reward because of its prevailing circumstances in the years to come, that will be their decision based on how they see the economy and based on how they also evaluate their own involvement in the prize. But generally, I think that what they have done so far is fantastic. It is left for the winners of the prize to leverage on what this prize represents and scale up the quality of their art and also the visibility of the art.
Okay, please tell us, very briefly, your journey as an author. How has it been?
It's been rewarding. I started I started trying my hands on writing in 1992. I was in senior secondary school then, so you can imagine that I started scribbling things as a young man who was interested in creativity. I don't want you to read any of those things now. So, but what I've done over the years is to constantly improve on that art, and it's been rewarded. I've won the Nigerian Association of Nigerian Authors Poetry Prize twice. I won the Association of Nigerian Authors Drama Prize once. I'm not counting the prizes I won as an undergraduate, talking about what has happened between 2013 and now. I was first listed for this prize in 2013. So between 2013 and now, I've won 3 national prizes. I have won a Continental Literary Prize for Poetry last year, the Pan-African Prize for African Poetry. And I have been listed for this prize for 5 times. So I think that in terms of prize winning or nomination for prizes, I've been pretty recurrent. And but that's not the only measure for good art. Okay? The only measure for good art is the production of good art. The rewards will come as the reward. It's the quality of the work itself. What is intrinsic in the work as its creativity, that's what counts. So whether a work wins a prize or does not, if that work is a great work, the work will stand. My friend, elderly friend, Audio Femo, who was also my publisher, used to say that 50 years from now, people are not going to look for the books that won the prize. And it's true. 50 years from now, those who are going to read Grit will not read it because it won a prize. They'll win it because it has artistic excellence to remain relevant. Okay? So, and there'll come to a time when all the prizes we're winning today will not be in public discourse. Let's say 100 years from now, almost all of us who are in Nigeria today might not be alive 100 years from now. Okay? And those who are alive will be very old people. What is to say that the history of this prize winning will only be on paper? What is it that is going to make the work endure? It is the artistry, the aesthetics in the work itself that will speak when the author is no longer there, when the primary audience that first read the work is no longer there, when all the journalists that spoke about the work are no longer there. It will be the work alone speaking to a new audience and validating itself on the strength of its aesthetic quality.
Okay, what's your word for young writers?
Oh, keep working. Because I teach creative writing, I get to run into young people all the time who want to write. And the first question they ask is, okay, so how do we start? And I tell them, anyhow. The first thing to do is to conquer the blank page. When you have that blank sheet of paper or that blank page on your computer and you want to start, if you do not start, you cannot start. So the first thing is to start and constantly improve. Don't come to a point in your life when you assume that you don't have any room for improvement. So I tell my students, if I'm going to write another play, I'm going to ensure that that play is better than this one. That's the much I can do on my own self, from my own end. Well, the writer's reception or interpretation of what is better will be left to the writer. But I will endeavor as a playwright or as a writer from my own end to, to, to make sure that that work that I'm producing is better than everything I've produced in the past. Okay. So it doesn't matter where you are now, what your fear is or your capacity or inadequacies are. You have to understand that to be a good writer, you have to put in the work. It comes from practice. Okay? I mean, everything that is important, you have to work yourself into doing it. For instance, you can imagine the first day you had to shoot a video. Okay? Now you already understand what works and what doesn't work. And in the next 5 years, there will be new equipments in the market, new methods, new styles, and all that. And you will need to improve your game. But if you had not started, let's say 5 years ago, when you are not sure of what you are doing, you will not have been able to build on it to get to where you are now. So that bad poem or bad play or bad story or bad essay that makes you ashamed or unsure today is actually the foundation that you can build on to become a great writer in the next 5 years, in the next 2 years. Very, very rarely do you find writers who are excellent with their first work. Okay? As in everything with life, people mature into a profession and gain expertise over time from constantly trying and constantly improving on their art. And that's what I tell young writers to do. Fortunately for us, Nigeria is not short of young people who have the presence of mind to commit work and effort. The truth is that some of the finest pieces of writing coming out from Nigeria today are coming out from young people. Very, very young people publishing on Instagram, on Facebook, writing their blogs, making entries in their diary, and then just showing to their friends, sharing on WhatsApp. Beautiful pieces of writing are coming out from young people. So the future is bright for our literature. We need to create that environment that constantly challenges us to improve our quality and to pursue excellence. That's what we owe the young people. And that's also what the young people owe themselves. All right? Now, let me say this because you've asked a question about young people. The judges of the Nigerian Prize over the years also recognize that young people are producing great literature, right? Last year, the 3 writers that made the shortlist were below 40. All the 3 writers were below 40. In 2017, when I was listed for poetry, there was a young poet called Sheun Larry Williams. He was 25 years old, and he made a list of 11. Right? So across the years, we have had young people in their 20s, in their 30s, who have made it to the long list of 11 and to the list of 3. Okay? So that is to say that whenever we see quality or excellence, we celebrate it. We celebrate it. So young people have a lot to gain from their creativity and the literary space in general.
Okay.
Yeah.
Your final word to the NLNG?
The LNG, I'm a fan of the Nigerian Prize for Literature, and I've said this publicly at the Kora Book Party. I pray that the LNG's business should continue to thrive, and I pray that the management of the LNG will have the presence of mind to keep sustaining this prize from year to year. And also keep their ears open so that if there are new perspectives that can enrich the prize administration, they can learn and leverage on those new perspectives. Much more than that, I'm calling on other individuals and institutions in Nigeria to borrow a leaf from what the LNG is doing. We need more literary prizes across the states, across the local government, and across the country. Let them learn from the model of the LNG.